left before we launch into game. How about we take a quick look into our map ban first of all? Gonna help us out determine which map we're gonna play on. Again, best of one series in EU, and it's gonna be Oregon. Winstrike removing Villa, Heretics taking away Coastline. Just before that, we're gonna go to what a lot of teams in many regions have been calling the most balanced map in the entire pool. Would you guys agree to that? Em, what do you think?
Yes, I think it's one of those things where we kind of got a really good taste of it because it was so prevalent in the best of one region, where there's the possibility of draws. You don't want to have anything else kind of thrown to the wind here. So it showed up a lot, and it's, I guess for me, the idea of Oregon being this balance across attack and defense is seeing where it goes and seeing where it changes with obviously the meta changes, because it's something where you'll see some maps swing in and some maps will be a little bit shaky and then they kind of find their feet. I think Oregon's a good shout to be a very balanced map and good for both teams. And here, especially with the choice between Villa and Oregon, yeah, out of those two, it really shines a light on the possibility of both sides of Oregon.
I have to agree with you. The only other map I would put up on the really balanced list is probably going to be Clubhouse, for example. Both give a similar kind of feel to me. They're like, you're strategical, but there's still room for fragging here and there. And it often like results in many different strategies to come out. Sometimes it's defender-sided, sometimes it's attack-sided. So the balance is definitely there.
Yeah, that's what a lot of coaches have been saying it even in our interview. Our lobby is ready, but first of all, I just want to take a quick look at the standings, the rankings for these groups. Of course, we're going through Group A. Just to remind everybody, Winstrike are at the top, Gamma Gaming right under them, but Heretics, Machiko, and Fedora, can all three of them really go up into the top four? Remember, those 4 positions in the rankings are the teams that make it through to the playoffs, but 5 and 6 are not. So it's still a toss-up, whereas in Group B, as you can tell, Be Kind of Black Mama have 0 points, which means that the top 4, Penta, Homeless, Eminem, and Kofana, are already qualified for the playoffs. This is what the big day is for, and Group A is all about it. That said, FluCap, thank you so much for your info, delving a bit deeper into the matchup. Though, let's kick it off to our casters, Desichu and Jess. Please, take it away, Jess. I'm so sorry that he's back, but go ahead.
Of course he'd say that. Of course he would. You know what? I could step in here and be really cruel, but I'm going to say nothing. I'm just going to say, Milosh, thank you very much for stepping into my shoe over the last few days. I'll take it from here. We're back for CL. It is the final day of this 5-week sprint that we have been in, going through APAC, through EU, and now closing things off with the best of them all. It's Challenger League, and this group, as we all know, is absolutely anybody's for the taking. There are 3 teams here that can move in and out of those top 4 spots to make it into playoffs, and this game can mean a lot. Winstrike are safe. Heretics, they need a win here to guarantee themselves in. Otherwise, Fedora could be a team that knocked them out of that top 4 later on today.
Well, I'm glad to have you back. No matter what Milosh says, I'm very happy to have you back. It was good to have Milosh on my side for, a day or two. But now we're back with serious business. And speaking of serious business, after that map ban, I have a little bit of a theory here, and I'm sure you'll probably back me up on this. Winstrike going to this map is important out of all of the maps purely because Winstrike have played this twice in 4 games. 50% of their maps have been like Oregon here for the Challenger League season. The reason that's important is they're going into playoffs. Why go to another map where you have to implement certain strats, certain showings, show certain operators, show certain strengths or weaknesses, when you could just go to a map that already has VODs on it, do the same thing you did in those VODs, win or lose because it's not going to matter, and then all of a sudden you're free to go into playoffs, unimpeded by the last matchup in the VOD that you've produced.
The only maps that's shown so far have been Cafe, Club, and Oregon here, of course. And I think Hap mentioned it on the desk. He kind of took a point that I wanted to mention, was that both of these teams have played on maps like Oregon and Clubhouse. Both quite strategically leaning teams. And I think for Heretics back in week 1 when they went to Consulate, although it was pegged to be one of their stronger maps, they did struggle against Matchco, ran them off the park a couple of times when it came around to the fragging department. So I think here we're down for a real treat between these two teams. Heretics absolutely destroyed Granite here when they played them. C4s galore, shotgun kills for Karibo coming out everywhere. They really knew what they were doing. And I'm wondering here if that's going to be able to withhold against a team like Winstrike starting on the attack that have shown their capability already being at 10 points in this group, or if they will hold firm against Winstrike and at least take something away from them here and secure that spot in the top 4.
Well, They want that top 4, and they've got a few VODs to look at for Winstrike, like we noted before, and the only one they've gotten is on Oregon. So all of this points towards the best chance here for Heretics to be able to zoom themselves, secure that spot so they can go off onto the playoffs. I'm sure all of the Spanish community is sitting there going, this is a must. Our team is going to make it. And of course, there's a couple of other regions that are hosting a couple of their teams throughout Group A and Group B. It's good to go back to Oregon a bit. I think, after we had a bit of a dry spell and we were just consistently seeing either Cafe or Villa over and over again, it's nice to come back to Oregon for a little bit.
What do you think about the band so far coming through here, Jess, as well? I'd say there's nothing that really jumps out at me as being too surprising outside of maybe the Ying. And some teams, as we've seen, especially in Europe, do like this operator on this map, given that it brings along the smokes, given that it's excellent for the Candela execution. What's your take on it?
I think given that the new update has come out, you want to try and limit the opposition's ability, rather the attacking side's ability to be able to abuse that. Imagine you've got a Ging, you've got an Ace with smokes, you've got a Glaz as well. All of those things sort of add up, and it's something that is quite oppressive. No matter what setup you do on the defensive side, you could just get overwhelmed by those operators. So now that that new update is in, I think these players are just trying to curb back what could be quite oppressive.
See how it shapes up then. One thing to always clock here is that in Challenger League, a few times we've had teams that aren't too great on the drone economy side of things. They'll often lose them quite early on and leave them with very little information coming into the late stages of the round. Neither of these two teams really jump out at me as ones that have had that issue in the past, but consistency, I would wager, for Heretics has been the issue. Some games, they have looked like a team that deserves to be in the top 2, top 3 in Challenger League. Other games, they have really struggled. So today is that test that I'm looking to see. Nothing worth shouting home about just yet outside of Winstrike currently grouping up inside of construction, looking for a bit of an early fight to get their way inside of the Blue Tarps construction area, then start pushing into Boiler Room and come down from Big Tower as well. A very atypical setup, I say that, as two members from Heretics come charging down the north stairs after spending a bit of time on the top floor. I think they were hoping to challenge someone who might come pushing down this way, but for Winstrike, pretty much everyone has committed themselves to construction. They do now have one in Big Tower, but Hookah, is getting ready to contest that. It's going to be Smash on the Nomad, just to make sure no one's going to come and bite them in the backside a little bit later into the round.
Well, they've been able to get rid of a heck of a lot of that utility that was troubling them. Double shields, there was magnets around, I believe ADSs were just littered throughout there. So they've been able to do that, and they still have an entire half the round left. Yuka's been pushed all the way back. He could have swung and got Exo there. Does Exo know he's closer? Who will know? And now the Maverick will give the line of sight. And wow, this is very overwhelming. We know Winstrike works really well as a team when it comes to it. The big thing now is they need to get rid of this mute jammer, because Kuribo's spot here is going to be key at stopping them.
Crazy, they've just kind of walked into Boiler here as well without any opposition coming out of Heretics. They've killed one member, everyone else was backed away, not even wanting to get involved in gunfights. So despite the 4 pushing through construction to begin with, clearly for the side of Winstrike, they're saying we don't care if we're limited in options here. We are still going to get the ground we need, and we are going to do it in good time. You've got to worry about these Banshees, and look at this tight angle. They're going to swing round and find Karibo, who really should have found himself potentially a couple of kills lining up there. Rush brings down Barrage. It's a 5 versus 2. Illusionist and Sake left alone to try and make this happen, but they cannot connect a bullet to a head, it would seem. I say that as Illusionist will prove me wrong and find one, but it's a 4 versus 1. The plant is going down. He's got about 25 seconds to try and save this round, and somehow, Jess, something tells me he's not going to be doing that.
Could you imagine he hits 4 headshots in the next 20 seconds? That would be absolutely hilarious. I just don't think it's going to happen. And I think for us, it probably gives us a little bit of a good opportunity. And of course, Heretics a good opportunity to chat about what exactly went wrong for them. I think when you focus so much on how oppressive that shield setup is, all of those magnets, those ADSs, you're so used to being able to delay teams. But they kind of remind me of a Team Empire-esque type of team, and they're a Russian team as well. Winstrike don't care. They see a problem and they go, we have the solution to it, whether it be flashes, you've got the Zofia to work with as well, and we'll just keep cooking through it until we can destroy everything. Everything's destroyed, okay, drones out. They were very methodical with the way that they went about it, and I think for Heretics, that wasn't something that they necessarily thought they would be able to get done in, 1 minute 43 mark I have noted here, and that's pretty damn good.
They didn't really seem to care about the utility for the most part. It was just we're inside L. You can't stop us. I guess we'll start Mavericking the wall open. Oh, I guess now we're going to come through electric. Oh, you want to contest us? Oh, sorry, we click your head first. And even Hookah, again, by himself, was just there I will contest you in Boiler. I'm not going to win the gunfight. Those first 2 opening kills they came down to, I'd wager maybe slightly unlucky. You would think the Jaeger could maybe find a kill or at least get some damage traded back. And for the player that was in that top left corner of supply, that was a wonderful opportunity for a double kill, but poor Karibo couldn't quite connect those shots. I'll park judgment for another round here and see if Heretics can contest in the gunfights. Okay, apparently Christmas tree. We've got red, we've got red, we've got blue, we've got something that doesn't really have a color, but it's still going to count because it's an electronic gadget. They're just trying to do what they can here. No grenades, no operators, no drones allowed.
The moment I saw them all line up there, it was kind of like they were holding hands and singing Kumbaya there together, which was kind of cute. I love that. But for the most part, I like the placement of that there because it's very hard to displace. You can't go to the attic window and get rid of them. You would need to really expose yourself in a bad angle to even maybe shoot an Ash charge or an impact through there. You obviously got to deal with the fact that there's ADSs, and you look over to Sake and he's got that Banshee ready to go on multiple places now. If you're not aware, though, he doesn't have the T5 anymore. He has the MP5. He's traded, or rather she's traded with Oryx weapons. Thank you very much for giving me a visual demonstration of that. And well, as a result, not as much firepower as she once had. I actually think the MP5 is quite a horrible gun. Maybe I've just had bad experiences with it, but for the most part, won't be as strong as she once was. And I think for that reason, the big things now are placing Banshees in really key spots so that she becomes much more viable.
We've observed quite a few interesting Banshee placements as well over the weeks where some teams place them a little bit too aggressively and players can quite simply walk up, destroy them, and then pull back to safety without being contested. Think of a couple of teams on Tower Stairs on Oregon, funnily enough, where it's placed at the halfway mark down stairs, where it's on the flat surface, rather than halfway down the lower staircase that leads into the basement floor. At least trying to be conservative with those is a key part of this, and here it is going to force them to have to not so much panic, but be very, very cautious of what it is they're trying to do. And there comes the grenade, and hopefully with this fire raining out, that for them is their incentive to push forward and go aggressive. But no, Illusion's going to get tagged down on his way back out. So even with the control held away ever so slightly from Winstrike, they still managed to get the opening down. Either way, Illusionist is down. He's not out. That's why it's called down but not out. They should be able to get him back up in pretty good time here. Not really what you want to do. Just close him out, mate. Why not? Just lock him behind the wall and let's forget that ever happened.
Oh, Flares misses out on 2 free kills there, actually, because, well, when you're reviving someone, you can't shoot back. And now we've gone past the halfway mark, and if I look at the destruction that Winstrike have been able to do, they've done it yet again. They've left a heck of a lot of time. Both sides of the sites are opened up. No impact tricks available now anymore, and that wall across on the pinch will be opened. No C4 below, just the carbine, which actually won't really do much. And now I think for Winstrike, they're going to rotate that bomb over. Do they rotate it to bedroom or double window? Looks like it'll be bedroom. And that plant should go off with a couple of smokes there from Flares. That's why he's positioned in bedroom. And the drones will feed intel. Whether this plant goes off without a hitch is yet to be seen.
Oh, well, it will do now. I was about to say, Illusionist holding the top of white was the big benefactor for the team there to say, you know what? No, we win this round, boys. There's no way we lose it. I've got an Alda. I'm sat here ready and waiting. But they're being picked apart from the side angles. That's 2 down. A 5 versus 3, and Plant is now going in. This is just like last round. Winstrike don't panic. They just get themselves in position and go for something as straight and simple as walking into game and putting that diffuser on the ground. Exo finds a double. Hookah's the last guy left alive. He was the first death in the previous round. Here he's been slightly more defensive, but apparently that's still not going to work out. A single kill will come through for the side of Heretics, and Winstrike are making this look easy.
Yeah, this looks incredibly easy for them, and a lot of the time teams that make it look easy are the ones that just go in and rip the team apart via elimination and pure mechanical skill. I don't think that's necessarily what it is here for Winstrike. They're just clinical. Open up this wall, open up that wall, drone it out, get rid of utility. Okay, now we have 40 seconds left to either bait a plan or get a plan off, and everyone's holding those perfect execute lines of sight. This just seems like it's been dry run 1 million times and they just don't falter. There is no time delay. They know how to deal with things. No matter what is thrown at them, easy clap. So it's very interesting because you're going up against Heretics who, I mean, if you haven't been following this, it's not like they've been doing too bad. They're on 5 points, which is half of Winstrike. So if you quantify them and compare them, okay, they're half as good as Winstrike, you know, technically. And the only other team that really holds a candle to them is both Matchco and Gamma, really, if we quantify it. So for me, they're not a horrible team. We've seen some really good things from them. I wonder if they're just faltering here because of the oppressiveness that Winstrike is showing.
We'll give a big nod to Winstrike 4 there as they got control of downstairs, and although you didn't really see him on site until the dying moments, Exo was downstairs with those breaching charges, destroying the Goyo shields and anything else from below. One that you can see in front of you now, actually here, that leads in towards the trophy doorway was the key one that I was looking for when Rush, who was stood on trophy door under Zofia, got a free kill onto the Maestro playing at the top of White Stairs. Because no one was able to contest that trophy doorway because the shields were destroyed, that's why he could hold such a critical angle to make sure that no one could even look into game. So it's really well played by Winstrike to very quietly, and again, not with any great pace, deal with the utility that's going to really hinder the actual plant itself. They get rid of that, they go in, they get the key kills they need to remove these strong angles, and then go for a push. It's beautiful to see because both on a strategic level and on a fragging level, they are currently far superior to Heretics. And from what we've seen from Heretics in the last couple of weeks, we can see more. We know we can. We've seen them do more. I don't know if it's a few rounds to warm into it, but something has to change going into round number 3.
Well, they're going to try it yet again and hope that this time something will change. I think for Winstrike, they're just going to do exactly the same thing. Why change if it ain't broke? And yep, that's exactly why these drones will come zooming through. They already have big tower control, no one contesting it, easy clap. They now have bedroom control, and they should be able to open up this wall for the most part. My worry is that Illusionist does get his impacts out a little bit better this time, but he might be a bit afraid. You can hear him prepping it. And for now, they know they can't go off because of this mute jammer. So if someone doesn't go below or goes to that connector window and dispatches it, this might actually delay Winstrike a little bit more. And it's just a simple, mute jammer.
You've got Exo and Rush from the Ash and the Zofia, the go-to gadget destroyers in this meta, both currently playing out towards Armory as well, not really concerning themselves with playing down from below. Although Exo now has rotated down. So as mentioned, with those shields, with the jammer, whatever else you need, he'll be down there to deal with that. And there is no one on the side of Heretics yet looking to play downstairs to cause some trouble. Should see the Selma opened up, but it's going to be an instant deny coming out to leave that as a nice little peeky hole to come through. You might see some aggressiveness coming out of the side of Winstrike, but for Heretics, with this now opened up, they can deny it yet again. And if they want to, they could rotate through the impact nades also in the hands of Sake here to deny this wall getting opened up.
I hope they do that, because this has been the biggest downfall for them, is leaving this open. That impact misses somehow, some way, hits the edge of the reinforcement and the edge of the shoulder of Sake as well. This is just going all Winstrike's way. Surely this is 3 rounds in a row. Or does Yuka do something big here? Is it enough? Maybe.
It's one for them. It is Smash. Although, just again, the execution set up there from Winstrike, beautiful. Admittedly, the failed impact did mean that Sake had to peek out, but clearly that information was there for Winstrike. They knew where the impacts would be peeking from and brings down the Malusi. 0 and 3 so far for Sake. Not quite the best start. Another kill flies out for Flares, who finds his second in the round. A 4 versus 3. And now we're going to see the execution coming through. Good bite back from Karibo to bring one down. There is some order of control being established here by Heretics. And this will mean that it doesn't get to finish off, because Hookah on the downstairs going to find one for himself, leaving things all the way down to Rush. One small detail here was forgotten about. It was about that vertical control, and now they could be about to pay big for it. There's 4 seconds to go. They're going to have to go for the plant here as Barrows comes charging up White Stairs. I don't see a world in which Rush gets away with this. Almost does. Barrows shuts him down. Heretics will finally find a round on a good flank coming out of Hookah from below.
Yeah, that actually came down to Hookah from below there. They actually didn't open the vertical for that default plan. They actually left it closed, which does give a little bit of a sense of safety to the attackers. Oh, there's no vertical hole here. No one's going to be challenging this from below. Winstrike have been showing, when I say one-dimensional, they're very horizontally based. They don't really go underneath and challenge anyone below. Yuka's played multiple rounds below there where he hasn't particularly been challenged because they feel he's not really, a threat. He doesn't have a C4, so why challenge him? Why put that much energy into him? And now that he was able to go below, he knew where the default plan would be going off. That's an easy deny, and that's really what picked up that round there for Heretics. It's a good bit of map manipulation, good bit of map knowledge, but you can't be relying on that every time. What if someone was below? What if he died? Whatever it might have been. There was no real answer to it. And now they're going to move down to meeting and kitchen rather than kitchen and dining, and I'll be interested to see if they do a top floor hold or if they just do an on-site turtle.
Seen some teams going for the vertical start. Tempera and EU are a team I think of that love to play through the hatch from above and force the attacking team to come up to you inside of Attic and assume control of it before you can start looking for a plant, whereas others, Navi always spring to mind in this regard, love playing a little bit further back, holding in split or in towards kitchen and contesting those longer angles. And we've even had some teams go hyper aggressive and park someone prone right in front of the stage and just be like, hey, I know you know that we're here, but you can't kill us, because as soon as you step forward to try and contest him, you're getting blasted down by those players holding inside a kitchen or in split. I love to define meeting room as no man's land, because trying to take control of it is one hell of a challenge.
Looks like it's the ban wave challenge as well. Goodbye, cheaters. We will not miss you in any way, shape, or form. It's good to see him take their leave. And for Heretics here, this next round is super duper important. Just simply because you want to be winning as many defensive rounds as you can. A lot of teams will say it's quite a balanced map, but for the most part, a lot of teams will want to do well on their defensive side on almost every single map outside of maybe Coastline. That's the one where you might be able to get away with not doing so well on your defense and really hitting it on attack. Or you're an APAC team and maybe things change for you there and everyone's just attacker-sided. This aggressive shotgun here can only be played from this angle because there's an air jab present there. So only Kuriboh will be able to get killed if someone swings onto him. And well, I'm not surprised they do a big tower take here, Des, because most teams just end up doing this for this take. You want to try and do a meeting plan, especially when you've got smokes to play with as well.
Gotta be careful there, Kuriboh, buddy. You've got 7 shots left in that shotgun, and you're the one holding the doorway. Best player doesn't spend too many more coming out on things like drones, or he could be in trouble. In fact, he gets smoked out by Hookah there and has to back away entirely. Now they have this second line of defense set up, and I was saying that no one really wants to play inside a meeting. Well, clearly, Sake and Barros completely disagree. They're holding pretty aggressive here because green corridor is secure. I'd love to know how long they hold on for here. If they do lose control of green, if that shield that the smoke is playing behind is removed, they will lose the ability to hold these more aggressive positions and should have to fall back as a result.
I love the fact that we have a Warden still with the shield up. They need to displace the shield because what he'll be able to do is look through the smokes from flares, which is actually probably a key part of their plan here. They won't be able to just run in and plant. They have too many people looking at them. Another shield placed up as well, which will give a better line of sight for the defenders. So with 60 seconds left, their big thing now is can they destroy the shields? Can they get rid of the magnets, which are being deployed ever so slightly by Sake every, 20, 30 seconds now? My big problem now is that they've got to go up against a Warden who can see through their smokes. No plan could go down. They're being delayed now.
They've got to very, very smartly make use of these gadgets as well. They've got 2 frag grenades left. They've got the 2 breaching rounds. They've got the 2 impacts as well. There we go. You can hear them all going flying out. Sounds like one of those impacts didn't get caught out and the shield will be destroyed. So they've removed one, the one up to the right-hand side, but you've still got this critical one of the Warden in position. And although we had the Maverick going upstairs earlier, well, he's not in a spot to have this hatch open right now. This could be fatal for them unless they can get rid of this next shield. It gets eaten up by the ADS, potentially the final charge coming out. We'll be able to find it down onto Sake, which is something inside a meeting itself. Barros steps up there with a wonderful headshot onto flares, brings him down. Hookah strikes big with a second, and now the push comes through. Larry straight inside of sight here. Full control is the name of the game for him as the plant now starting to come out. C4 sings through. It's going to catch him and bring him down. It's a 1v1, but there's no time left. They left it a little bit too late. For Kuriboh, admittedly, a team kill at the end made that a little bit sweatier than maybe it needed to be.
Ooh, that time delay. It all came down to one shield and a Warden and an ADS tucked behind bomb chassis in corner. That is literally all that round came down to. I know that Winstrike are a very methodical team, as I said before, but that was a little bit too much for them to have to deal with. They knew that they had to get rid of 2 shields. If it was just 1 shield, I think they would have had enough utility to deal with it. But unfortunately, it was 2. And guess what? It took them too long to be able to deal with. Plant goes down in a hurry. They can't bait anything out. People can look through all the smokes you're deploying, and things go badly. And now we even up the scoreline, which is pretty damn good here for Heretics because you want to be walking away with the round advantage on your first half so that you got a little bit of leeway going into the second.
Oh. No!
Execution.
Look, Kuriboh, buddy, look, let's get real for a second.
All right,
we've all been there. It's okay, buddy.
Yeah, look,
These
silver
things
games happen all the time for you like that, I'm sure. Oh no.
Milos, can you hear me, mate? Do you want to step back in, by the way? I think I'm done for today. And the rest of the year. Get me out.
Oh, good idea. You know what you could do? Jump into ranked and get out of silver.
I'm not in silver. I'm in gold.
Sorry.
You're going to flame me. At least do it right. Come on.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Anyway, Heretics thinking, you know what? We've had 2 rounds in a row. We deserve a handicap for ourselves here. Let's kill the man that's been pretty busy in the late stage of the round. Let's bring down Hookah and give ourselves a real challenge here. That clearly is not the communication that went by. But that's the situation they find themselves in. They've got a hold back against Winstrike, who on this site last time simply marched their way through. They didn't care about the utility too much. They just took over control of L and Elbow, moved their way through Blue into Boiler Room, and then marched their way into the site. So for Winstrike here, connecting some shots crucially early on is going to be the most important thing they can do. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves once again in the 2 versus 5. The Winstrike has zero problem closing out.
Yeah, Winstrike have got zero problem dealing with all these shields. There's not a freaking ADS around, and guess what? There's no Wamai close enough to be able to deploy any more magnets. He's got one in pocket, but it's not going to be protecting any shield when he's stuck up on the big tower stairs. He's actually completely pinched here, so for him now, he knows that he has to do or die this. He's going to have to commit to going to take the gunfight, whether it's above or below. And that's within the first minute here of the round, so he's going to be the front line for his team. And if he loses his life here, that's really dangerous because they've already lost one to an accidental team kill. Man count goes down too quickly, and some good teamwork there for Karibo on the bottom of the stairs.
Like it, they had this last round as well where they had 2 of them playing on the upstairs for quite a while, and in fact Hookah was one of those. So clearly they've rotated one player off being a site player and said, look, to make this roam work, we need 2. Very crucially, Karibo is the one who collects that kill, which balances them at a net 0 for this round. 1 team kill, 1 kill onto the other side. Things are all balanced before he does get traded out, but Rao's bringing it back just a couple of seconds later. So put that down as a trade, it's kind of half a kill. We'll take it. Sake's down on the ground, so it's going to be a 3 versus 3 once he gets himself picked back up. And in fact, Larry's in exactly the same situation. This hasn't been an easy walk through the site as it was for Winstrike back in round number 1. They've theorized that maybe it was 2 or 3 rounds of warming up to be done for the side of Heretics, and now we'll see them really starting to bring the fight to the table.
Oh no! Only 1 reinforcement was done. We can't see the reinforcement pool here, so we don't particularly know if he has another, but he's going to use it as a line of sight instead. Last time the attackers used it as a line of sight against them, and now it will be used straight back onto them. A little bit of revenge there. And for Winstrike, they need Rush and his counterpart of Flares to pop off here. They've got a heck of a lot of time to do it. So they could drone, they could calmly, ascertain what situation it is. And well, they got no drones, so they're not going to be doing that anytime soon.
I was about to say, no, Jess. No, they cannot. I've been watching that for about 30 seconds. They are very short on drones. It's why they had the peak come through round Elbow and get completely tanked up by Barros. Because the default expectation is that wall is reinforced, but it was not. Either way, doing just Winstrike things, Illusionist goes down as Rush takes that challenge onto him. A 2 versus 2, and that time is ticking down. Flair's going to find another. It felt like it was a round they could have won, but Winstrike in a 2 versus 3 with no drones still managed to bring the round to their favor. That's 3 and 2 to them. 5 rounds in.
It was a little bit concerning to me that the Melusi decided to peek out of that line of sight she had onto double doors from Freezer. I don't think she needed to play that aggressively. She didn't have the best weapon to do it either. And I think by exposing your body there and taking the gunfight, rather than holding the line of sight on the double doors, you're saying to your team, I can win this fight no matter what. And that just wasn't the case. He'd be better off holding the angle, waiting, playing time, forcing them to push up into their crossfire. There just didn't seem to be a lot of crossfire there from Heretics. They gift a round to Winstrike, and it seems like we're just going back and forth here for these rounds. Not really a surprise. See how it goes for Winstrike. I can't get the stats here, not on my Excel sheet anyway, of how many defensive and attacking rounds Winstrike have won on Oregon. I'm going to try and get it up. See
3 and 2.
3 and 2. So pretty even then.
Yes.
Thank you.
I mean, let's be frank as well. The attacking rounds they won were against Granite. I'm not trying to be super harsh on Granite here, but they are the team that have really crashed and burned out. I actually messaged Badger last week and said, man, you guys look so good in Nordic. Like, what's happened? He was like, honestly, so much I could go into. It was like everything that could have gone wrong has. I'll talk about it at a future point. So unfortunately for them, it sounds like the timing of this Challenger League season wasn't the best. Sadly, boys, you only get 1 a year, so it's not looking too hot in that case. But hopefully we'll hear the story on that at some point. So Winstrike, again, 3 attacking rounds in the game here, 2 against Gamma previously. So I think they should be in a good spot. The key thing to note against Gamma is they won 5 defensive rounds. They looked absolutely monstrous. So I'm thinking here, when they get onto the second half of this map, do we expect Heretics to be able to take a good number of rounds from them?
Yet to be seen, really. I think for Winstrike, they've shown a couple of pieces of weaknesses that I actually hadn't really seen from them thus far. Inability to adapt from their very rigid attack strategy, their step-by-step, almost like a cooking recipe where you just follow everything. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and then all of a sudden it says, all right, now I want you to dump the whole salt packet into the recipe, and you go, wait, hang on, the whole thing? Because I don't have a whole salt thing, so now I can't really do it. What should I do here? And that just seems to be what Winstrike struggle with doing here on attack. I want to see exactly whether or not they're able to adapt this round, or whether Heretics have been able to provide a little bit more oomph, a little bit more panache to their defense. I don't want to see the same thing over and over again. I think a lot of teams, especially in Tier 2, they get stuck doing the same thing over and over. And as a result, the teams are able to work them out pretty damn quickly.
They're in a spot where they're just sat here, but doing their best artist impression on this wall into Attic by the looks of it. Please tell me they know about Hookah. Please tell me there's a flank drone sat somewhere. There should be. They've not been awful with their intel so far. In the last round they did, and there we go. There's an air jab also just round the corner. Walks into that, and no doubt will now be thinking, okay, best get out of dodge. They know I'm here. Peace out. And a well-placed air jab as well. We spoke last week about how a lot of teams are starting to... They're understanding with the air jabs. They know where the most common placements are. They know they can just about get a pixel on them and destroy them. In some cases, it does still give you away because of the shot coming out of the gun. I think it was Happy was like, I want to see more gridlock, man. Gridlock, yeah, not so easy to get round. I'm like, yeah, okay, fair point, fair point.
Well, Yuka did get away with his life, and he will be below. Last time he played a critical role on this particular site by being able to deny the default plant. I'm going to be able to finally get rid of this Banshee and move on up. 60 seconds left, and they're slowly circling the site, looking for an opportunity to walk on in. My big thing now is that EXO is downstairs actively trying to get rid of the wall denial. Does he stay downstairs and challenge Yuka? Hopefully. If not, the big thing now is to make sure that he doesn't do any damage flanking from anywhere else.
I think he was looking for the shields as well because of where they might be set up on the upstairs. And look at Hookah still playing on the roam here. And I like this because the adaptation is they know that they're trying to push through Attic. And he's going to find the opening kill onto Ash. That is the Nomad down. I always find it wonderfully ironic when the Nomad's the first one to die in a round. That's one down at the very least. The Ash and the Zofia have done their work, though. They've got open what I think they need to. I think because they're out of Salmos, though, they can't actually open up the game wall, so they're in trouble. They can't go for a Salmo to execute. This is going to have to be a push through Attic and through Trophy at the same time. But Heretics are ready. 2 kills fly through. Make that 3. They try and make it happen, but Heretics are just too ready. Great denial coming out in that round that Winstrike clearly could not deal with.
Yeah, unfortunately, it felt like a bit of a caster curse there. I said if they throw a little bit of a wrench in the works and a spanner in the works, then things are just going to start toppling down for Winstrike. It just goes against the grain of what they're used to doing, what they're used to dry running. And there again, I think finally Heretics have worked them out and been able to apply that random, sporadic bit of aggression. It came from Yuka on the hatch from below and meeting door as well. So that was quite good and well read because he knew he couldn't push up through the air jabs. But for the most part, there was other areas of the map that they were really sure they could hold off on. They did. And now as we go into the second half, Winstrike will go on to defense and we will see them go upstairs to start off with Pulse in hand, interestingly enough. I'm interested to see if he has the shotgun of the UMP in hand. We've been seeing a lot of teams bring the shotgun and Pulse just randomly throughout different tiers now. APAC North as well, we've seen them rock that. But he does, I'm pretty sure, has the UMP in hand for the most part. But either way, his job there will be to make sure that he knows exactly where they're pushing from and that he can be below when that plant, if it does get close enough, happens.
Also, know switch sides is a bit of evaluation in terms of what will come through as a change, and Paul's absolutely correct. It's one of those things that we're seeing coming along. On the other side, nothing really worth shouting home about, except for, of course, the Ace being dropped away in favor of the Habana. Ace recently being changed away to only have 2 Selmas. If you are looking to get a wall open, then fantastic. That's what you want him for. But if you're more looking for these angles being opened up by the Habana to be able to peek through and to contest, he's absolutely perfect for that case. And when teams are now so focused on impact tricking the Selmas off the wall once the first hole gets opened up, that's where Habana might shine, because you get to go through a couple of iterations there to try and get the hole open, rather than, well, not a couple, you get to go through 3 iterations rather than just the 2.
I think he still has 3, but it only opens twice.
That's where it got dropped down to 2.
I think he's got 3, and it will only explode twice. You won't get the full wall effect.
You'll only get patch notes the whole time. Is this what's happened on this APAC for 2 days?
That's okay. It's I love that. The only thing I can say to just comfort you is that's okay.
That's okay. Sorry, you are correct. Yes, the number of explosives ticks down to 2, down from 3. Yes, correct. My bad,
cool,
guys.
Yeah. It's all right.
This is what happens when you skim notes and go 3 to 2. Clearly the number of Selmas, and away you go.
You know what I'm sad about? None of these teams are playing the Glaz in its new iteration either. We saw that yesterday. APAC North was rocking it so hard out. They were giving us a good indication as to how teams might be able to play him, especially with the ace and the smokes. Every team, for the most part, is going to take an ace. Why not? Oh my god, how's Kruber still alive? Oh, wrong angle, debris in the way, etc., etc. Cool. My big thing here is that they've been able to open this before the half and flare, or rush rather. I'm surprised he got away with his life. And most people know that someone will play quite aggressive on that game's wall, just because we've seen it done in EUL, we've seen it done in multiple different regions. And that's a freebie swing there. Is there a shield aiming at Trophy like it's in Heretics? No?
No.
Oh, flares, damn.
There is normally. There is always a shield where Flares is currently holding, facing in towards Trophy. That's the most default shield I think you will ever see on this site. But no, it is not there. They are just instead choosing to hold where they are now in the doorway and occasionally looking to peek around. I guess it's more trying to bait the attackers in here because you've got Larry also holding up to the north. You did originally have Rush inside of game, obviously no longer the case. And there is a shield there inside of Attic, so maybe that's what we're looking towards instead. Now that that's gone, I have to be a little more careful on the side of Larry here, and this is where I'm thinking that for the side of Heretics, things are starting to fall in their favor. They've got rid of the crucial elements they need. They force the defenders back. They just want to be careful they're not about to walk into a death trap, and that's exactly what it might turn into with Smash playing on the downstairs.
Does Smash have the UMP? Because he's consistently had his pistol in hand throughout this entire round, so I have not seen once what his primary is. I've just made the guess. If it's the shotgun, it will be brutal from below. It is completely destructible from below. I just need him to change to his primary. Whatever your primary is, give me an indication, Smash. If it is the shotgun, I think it will be quite smart. I think it will work really well. And so will C4s and SMGs from Winstrike.
But there we go. The bite back comes through pretty comfortably. And with only 10 seconds left, Heretics are left truly in the 20-second meta here. No time left to make anything happen. Would have to try and look for kills. And guess what? There's still 3 left to kill. There's 0 chance you find those. Winstrike taking round number 7 pretty convincingly, and a lot of it down to that C4 denial and play from below.
The worst part of that round is I still didn't find out if Smash had a UMP or not. And I probably will never find out.
Jess is now furiously in his DMs like, were you playing the goddamn UMP in round 7 or not? And they'll be like, why are you so aggy about it? Because you didn't show me. All she wants to know in life is, was he playing a UMP or a shotgun?
I like to see teams go away from the conventional. If the shotgun in your mind will work better for the job you need to do, and your job is to deny and play below, and you think it will work better than the UMP, which quite frankly has very low damage and won't be able to destroy or get much hit damage through soft breach, then play the shotgun. That's great. We've seen teams take the shotgun on Sledge on attack, for example. I mean, there are ways to do your job, and you have to identify as a player how best to alongside your support staff. And if that's the talk they had and it's been working in their scrims, then that's really cool. I like to see those iterations. Now we get to go downstairs. I'm glad we have a Maestro in tow here, because for the most part, you got a Valkyrie ban. You won't have an opportunity to use her Black Eyes, I should say. And I'm wondering whether or not this will be an elbow hold, or if they do a freezer hold outwards, or both.
Time will tell. You see variety. Teams, I think, would generally fail when you're looking towards a freezer and a laundry push. It's what quite a few in EU popularised for a while. The default around the world has always been taking control of the north side and then looking to push down towards the south. And as we saw earlier on for Heretics, defending in that regard is sort of the go-to expectation. But if you don't land those first couple of crucial shots, as soon as you have the control of elbow and you have control of boiler, execution then becomes a lot easier for the attack inside. So aggression out of Winstrike, I think, needs to play into it early in this round. Looking across the changes they've brought, nothing really worth shouting about. The one thing I will note is there are 4 frag grenades here, despite no vertical angles being available to play behind.
I think the big tower take looks to be the first plan of attack here for Heretics. And as it should be for the most part, you really, 1, want to make sure it's clear. 2, want to make sure that no one's pushing up really aggressively on those big tower stairs. I think Barrows was the one that was setting up a drone quite late into that round. Oh,
cheeky.
That's nice. I mean, I know it exists, but you don't see a lot of players playing it quite as heavily as we've seen Illusionists sort of jump in and look down at it like that.
Like Spider-Man.
It was kind of a Spider-Man move. Thing is, you're not really going to spot anyone in that particular position unless they're playing hyper-aggressive, and at that point, you've got a drone, you've got an air jab, you've got something, you'll be able to work it out pretty quick from another angle.
With that Habana being brought along, it should make the job a little bit easier to get these hatches open where required. The security one no doubt needs opening up. Might even look towards the one through laundry, but the meeting one for now at least is definitely opened up. And that's where often we'll see the drop come through a little bit later on, going for that plan inside of the defaults for their position inside of laundry, or inside supply, I suppose I should say. Now you've got to worry about where these defenders are holding, though, in the more aggressive positions they're taking. You can even see with the Maestro still being alive here, there is still work to do for Heretics. We are about 90 seconds in. This is where you start asking the questions of when does the pace come out? That's the pace we're looking for. This is almost reminiscent of round number 1 when Winstrike did exactly the same thing to Heretics. 2 quick kills come out. It's going to be the Jaeger left alive, and Larry's going to at least find 1 back for the side onto Illusionist. But you're looking towards the timing here. Again, down to nearly 60 seconds. 4 versus 3. Small advantage with Heretics.
I really want to praise their second Maestro cam, their Evil Eyes, actually looking through a huge line of sight towards, it's right on the wall, thank you, and it's looking towards elbow rotate. So it can actually see through closet door and all the way over there if anyone pushes. I really like that. I actually haven't really particularly seen it used as heavily as we're seeing Winstrike use it now. And for Flares, well, he's not able to win out against the R4C and the plant begins.
Should be winning those kind of situations when it's into a quite comfortable spot. Sake's down on the ground, and there he goes, and 1 coming back. But Heretics are just better in this round, Jess. Connecting those crucial shots, bringing down members of Winstrike, forcing their way through Electric into supply. No C4 denial coming out of the defensive side. That leaves things still all square at 4 rounds apiece, and it's getting harder and harder to see which way this game goes.
The back and forthness of it, especially after the first couple of very comfortable rounds, it's almost like Heretics warmed up and was like, yeah, no, sorry guys. We were cold. We were just warming up our hands, getting ready to work out exactly what our opponent was going to throw at us. And now we're back. And I mean, it's not particularly a surprise either, because we spoke about how they absolutely smashed Granite on Oregon 7-2. Well, you look over at Winstrike, they also fought Granite on this exact map as well, and they 7-4'd it. So if Heretics can 7-2 Granite, and Winstrike can only 7-4, and again, how much stock do you really put in that on the day? But that goes to show that both of these teams are able to put up a heck of a good fight against, yes, a pretty weak team, of course. No wins in this particular group whatsoever, and they will be unable to get up to the playoffs. But it does show that both these teams like this map. They are quite good at it. And for the most part, I've seen Heretics, after the first 2 rounds, show their capability.
More capability for Heretics to drag them through, and I mentioned already about the balance for this game. Given that Winstrike are on 10 points, they cannot be locked out of their spot to make it into playoffs. I think there is a world in which they get unseated as number 1. They are, second place team is currently 7 points, it's Gamma. I think if Winstrike get hammered here to a certain extent and Gamma win by a considerable margin in their game, Gamma could take first seed away from them. Now, being dead honest with you, I don't think it matters if you finish in first or second in this group, because looking at the teams on the other side, you're looking towards teams like M&M, Kavana, Omos have really impressed us, even Penta. Like, I don't really fancy facing any of those 4 teams in their current iteration.
That's exactly right. I'm not sure if head-to-head or round diff work first here in CL. I know in EUL it's some multiple different versions of it, with head-to-head counting as well. So I have to get a confirmation of that from the rulebook, and I'm sure the admins can let me know exactly which one would be counted first. Is it round diff? Is it head-to-head? Because if it's head-to-head, Gamma can't overtake them. But if it's round diff, well, if Gamma have a smashing game, then might look the other way and put them into first place. Seeding is the only thing it's going to affect, like you said. That's a good little thing to kick things off. Is that a garage peek attempted from EXO there? Oh, yeah, you didn't do too well.
Yeah, I think he tried to get a little bit cheeky. We've had Lesto coming with the big info drop right here. Total points, then a head-to-head tiebreaker. Percentage of matches won, and then percentage of rounds won. So you're looking at that head-to-head as the tiebreaker to begin with.
Okay, so no way that Gamma can get into first place, but they also don't want to be knocked out. I mean, can they be knocked out? I have to look. Gamma.
No, they're safe.
No. Good. Excellent. Double check.
I think even if Fedora win their game, then they don't win the head-to-head against Gamma, so Gamma are safe, I believe.
Exactly. Head-to-heads. Good. Well, Flares is able to connect the SMG this round, and that's onto barrels. That's quite a good pick onto the Ash. I think some of the utility already being utilized, so it's actually not as good as a pick as if he had have gotten that one earlier. We're coming down to the 60-second mark, and there's a lot of presence around pillars, and that's a real power position. If you can hold this off for as long as possible as the defenders, you've got a really good chance of being able to just completely deny the attackers from getting close to plant.
Both teams have been quite poor at holding it today on the defense as well. They've let go very quickly, and they've always lost at least one member as soon as the attackers start looking down that corridor. Whereas here, because of held fast a little bit, they've still got the gadgets up, and you're looking at that clock running down. The scary thing is, I said exactly this in the last round when there was about 1 minute and 20 left. Oh, the Evil Eye's still there. They've still got control of pillars. It's the same sort of story right here. And look at that illusionist looking down corridor, as I always say, has walked his way in, got 2 kills, and given a massive swing over to the side of Heretics in this round. 2 left for Winstrike here. Flares and Larry got it all to do to ensure the lead doesn't slip over to the side of Heretics for the first time in this fixture. But we've got 20 seconds to play with. We know what happens when teams get to this sort of stage in a round. Mistakes can be made that can cost you rounds. Flair's going hyper-aggressive here, looking to hold nice and close. And I don't think with any time left for drones here. In fact, there are none left. They're just going to have to go for it. 10 seconds, and there comes the swing. Illusion is collecting with a crucial kill. 1 versus 2. Can he deny? Must have an idea of where he is. There's one playing through the rotate, who I believe is holding the cross angle. This should go through nice and comfortable. And this is all down to Larry to now swing this one back. The Aldo might fire a lot of bullets, but not enough to win a 2 versus 1. Heretics pull themselves into the lead, 5-4.
Well, I caught most of what you said there. I'm not sure if you lagged out or I did, but either way.
I'm hoping I'm okay.
You're good now. You sounded fresh, crisp, nice, and however many thing it is
me.
From Australia. Oh, that's all right.
Sad.
I'm sure the intent was there. You know what I mean?
I had the best intentions the whole way through, trust me.
This back and forth worries me a little bit because Heretics, let's say they get to the 6th round and things have been going back and forth. Statistically, they're very likely to go to a draw. How many points does a draw put them on? It puts us on 6, and that's not a good spot to be in. It's just not a good spot, I think, in the whole scheme of things to be in. I think a win would just really push themselves up, and they'd feel very confident that there's no possibility, because there would be none.
I think looking at it, the only draw or the only tiebreaker that really is going to matter all that much if results go, if this carries on this way and Heretics win here, they jump to 8 points. They go ahead of Gamma Gaming, who are currently on 7 points, who play against Matchco later on. Assuming Matchco win that game, Heretics and Matchco are absolutely 2 teams that stay, but both will be on 8 points.
Yep.
And I think that means the head test stays the same. Gamma could draw, like, I don't know. There's a couple of situations here we'll need to look at, such as like Heretics versus Gamma for 2nd place, but we'll get more information on that as the day progresses. The night is still young, Jess. It's still only the first game, let's not forget.
Well, it's 2:40 a.m. for me. My night should be ending by this point, so...
Well,
I'm
Jess, you know what? You are in EU Challenger League, and here, we don't care.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to take that. Here we go.
You know what we call that time where you are, by the way? Yeah, you finally found out. You've got your answer, Jess.
I got
Celebrate.
We did it.
We did it. He did it. He actually got the gun in his hand and is now intends to use it, I think.
What do you call my time, by the way, so you can cap this conversation off with style?
Real gamer hours.
What, my time?
Yeah.
Damn.
Everyone
real
knows the
gamer
sweatiest
hours.
and the sweatiest and most intense ranked sessions happen at the early hours of the morning.
I mean, with so many players averaging silver and gold, no wonder you find all those games at that time.
Wow. I mean, no. I can't do those kind of hours anymore. I feel too old now. My bones can't take it. But it's one of the, do you remember when Way tweeted about this? He was like, oh, I'm on the whole like play till I lose streak and it's like nearly 5 a.m. What do I do? And I was just like, bro, like that's intense.
That's a good little game that they could play there. Ooh, that caps.
Ooh, nearly.
Damn, I absolutely thought he would die to that one, just considering it did kind of clip through the wall and it would have had the explosion radius enough to be able to absolutely down him, I would have thought, but that's okay. And the moment this wall gets Mavericked, it will open up. Flares should get a free kill onto the Maverick. He's stopped. Surely not. The moment he opens this is a free kill. It has to be, and he knows it. He knows the wall's been sledged already. He can't work out what part of it is wrong, and there it is.
All too easy sometimes. You make it so easy for them. Of course they're going to collect opening kills like that. That's the Maverick gone. That probably means those 2 frag grenades are down and out. This is about the 1 minute 30 mark in the game as well. It's still a 5 versus 4. There's still time for Heretics to pull this up to at least guaranteeing them a draw. There's still the guarantee that if Fedora go on to win their game, a draw will not be enough for Heretics. They need a win here to absolutely cement their place in the top 4. But let's see if they can do it either in this round or the next couple of rounds, or if it goes on a little bit longer. They've got a spot where the wall has been opened up, and they know they're looking for this plant most likely inside a game. But as we saw from the pulse earlier on, Smash still doing the work on the downstairs, playing behind this cardiac sensor. has the C4 in the backhand, and just in case he needs it a little bit later on, there's always the UMP, Jess, not the shotgun.
Oh, Flares, look at this hyper-aggressive spot. You either net a kill from this or you absolutely die. There's no way to walk out of this without engaging in a gunfight where someone is on the losing end of it. And, well, Barrows, he read into that situation there. I believe that was Smash's C4 gone. Good shot, and that's a bounce if I've ever seen one. And, well, here we go now. It's all up to Sake, and yikes. This is the back and forth we've been talking about, Des. This is what I was worried about. They really, really needed that round to propel them onto match point. I think them right now thinking about this, winning is the most important key part of them making the playoffs, because you don't want to be relying on other teams. And I think it was Krapel from Fnatic who said, there is no worse feeling than the fate of your team being in the hands of other teams, which is fair enough.
I don't know, Fnatic obviously felt that pressure the other day as well. After they lost their first game, they had to watch another 5 games take place to determine whether or not they would stay. I won't lie to you, I didn't tune in towards the end of the show. Did they stay or did they not?
How do you mean? Did
Did Electrify, Talon, and QC win?
Good question.
You cast the damn thing, Jess.
I know, and it was like, 3 a.m. and I went to bed and I woke up refreshed thinking about EU. That's how I go. I push myself to think of the day.
Just having dreams of EU. Well, I can report they did indeed stay up. So clearly someone out of Talon, Electrify would have lost their game, sorry. Fair enough.
Correct, they did, sorry. It wasn't the trifecta. Yeah.
That's a shame, the dream. Well, I'll say it's a shame. That sounds really cruel. Fnatic, I'm happy you're still with us. I'll put it that way.
Jeez. Also, by the way, I have been informed by the beautiful Sai that he had a shotgun in the first round. Or in the first round where he took that pulse. Smash had the shotgun and then decided to swap over to the UMP in that later iteration of that top floor hold. So it's cool to see that he has a good bit of versatility to be able to play both of them and understands that how to use them if he needed to, but he hasn't needed to use it thus far. So we've not really seen it in action, which is a bit of a shame. And now it looks like we will finally see the dining site being held. I like this because the showers part of the power position here for the defensive side is one of the ones that I most enjoy watching teams impact trick. I enjoy seeing how they hold it. I enjoy seeing how attackers deal with it. But what I also like is attackers who go, nah, we don't like pushing that. We know you've set all your utility up there. We're just going to go meeting instead.
Oh boy. Okay. 5 apiece, it's hard because the next round is what really matters. Here, one team will go up onto 6 rounds. They guarantee the draw or the win. Or it can go to be entirely a win towards one side. And for Heretics, they are absolutely praying they are that side again. They cannot be sat here relying on another team to mess up, so they secure this spot. The dream for them is that Fedora lose to Granite, but given Granite are already out here, and I imagine the players mentally are checked out, the game doesn't mean anything to them, there's no reason for them to give much effort to it. You have to think Fedora are in with a really good chance of being able to snatch this spot away from Matchco or from Heretics if either of them slip up here.
Well, Flares has had a pretty good damn game, at least kill-wise. That was predominantly on the first half when he played Ace. He actually popped off with that and used his utility quite well. Look at all these feed holes being opened up by Sake. I like this. Yeah, and they're really uniform as well, which means there'll be no opportunity for the attackers unless they lay down and challenge it back for them to be able to challenge into Attic. A lot of teams will put a rotate there. Winstrike have said, no, we're not going to do an Attic hold at all. And we're just going to close it on off. And whoopsie doops, we didn't know someone was flanking above. That's a good trade. And that's a good start here for both teams.
That's so cheeky, identifying they weren't coming in through Attic. Instead just thought, well, I guess we go and contest, right? The important thing is they have cleared out the player, or the players, sorry, on the top floor. So now they have control of where they need to, but it's now about thinking about the site. Where's the drop going to come through? At what point does execution happen? Because they've committed to saying we don't care so much about small tower at this point. Our focus is entirely coming into taking above kitchen and looking for the drop or a plant just inside a kitchen doorway. But even now, Winstrike are still looking to contest top floor as well. They aren't yet ready to give this one up. They want to keep making the side of Heretics sweat. And as Karibo goes down to very little HP, no doubt he's sweating a little bit more. But 2 kills come flying out. That's exactly what they were looking for. Exo's trying to shoot him through the wall here, but he's stepping into Death Alley if he tries to go through that rotate. Has an idea that someone must be behind, but quite simply for the side of Heretics, no reason to panic. you can sit where you are quite happily and just let Winstrike sweat it out here. He's going to have to contest at some point if he wants to bring this game back for his team. But Heretics are about to find that crucial round win that I mentioned. It puts them up to 6 points. It puts them 1 round away from securing their spot in the playoffs when it comes round to it over the next couple of weeks. 20 seconds on the clock, a 2 versus 1. He's got to kill both. He hasn't got to worry about Barros here, but has still also got to net the defuse. Something tells me, Jeff, there's only 5 seconds to go. There's 0 chance he collects them. He absolutely will not. And for Heretics, this is what they wanted. It's going to be 6 rounds for them. 1 more to go, and they've got themselves into the playoffs.
This is a very crucial round here for Heretics. I'm actually quite happy for them because for the most part, I don't want to say this doesn't mean anything for Winstrike because if you're a team, you want to win no matter what, you know? It doesn't matter if you've already secured that top spot. You just want to make sure you're really capping off the stage or the season or that certain split, doing quite well and showing your opponents that you are someone to be feared. That mental game does play in sometimes. My problem here is that we said it before. I don't want to cast a cursor, but it's been back, forth ever since the 3rd round. Do Heretics rise above here? And on the back of some of their big hitters like Barros, for example, Yuka's had not a bad second half here. Do they step up and say, we've got it, we can speed things up, we know how to do things, let's get on in? Winstrike are going back there. They're going back to kitchen. That's a surprise to me, quite honestly, that you would go back there. Are they hoping that Heretics think they're going to go elsewhere and have brought the wrong attackers? Or now that we finally have Glaz in play, does it not even matter?
You've got Glaz in play, but only 2 smokes.
Huh.
I almost would have preferred to see the ace in this position. Like, I know they've been really relying on making use of the Habana, but bring those smokes, man. Like, they are disgusting in the post plan. If you get that diffuser down, you've got 2, 3, 4 smokes to rotate through. Good luck even getting near the site without being shot to hell by the glass.
I want to see Barros just pop off on the glass. Excellent kills in this matchup. What has he got there? 12 so far, almost a 2 KD. So he's been doing an excellent job there with frags alone. Whether or not they've been impactful or not probably really doesn't matter because it's this last round where his impact needs to be felt the most. He needs to hit these shots. Whether or not he uses his smokes to be able to assist with the plan or not is probably irrelevant because it does match up with his utility specifically. And now Heretics are looking maybe to do a dining push. They did a bit of an upstairs / meeting / dining push throughout the shower corridor last time. Maybe this time they're hoping to go head through into small tower and let Barros just hold the angle from there.
Part of me really wanted to go, and he gets spawn peeked just to see what happened. If Barros were to get himself caught out, but no, he's good, he's alive. Has got to be wary of these jump outs, mind you, in case someone does try and go for something a little bit hectic. It is the time to pull out all the stops if you Winstrike. If you want to secure the win, then sometimes these nasty, more aggressive takes can be the way to play. They are holding quite aggressively here, admittedly without a Maestro who very commonly will play inside of showers, but otherwise the setup looks very, very similar to what we're used to seeing. You look to contest onto the wall inside of showers when someone tries to open it up. Otherwise, you have 2 or 3 members either holding above or looking to contest in towards the dining door and the dining wall once it gets opened up. The fact that you've got small tower control, the fact that there is a glass here says to me, we want these dining walls opened up. We want to go for a default plan. We want to smoke it off and then go for those crucial kills from Barros.
This is all going to rest on the shoulders of Barros here. This is why they're doing it this way. This is why they're going towards a push that would allow them to have such long lines of sight. A lot of people don't know you can actually go above and you can maverick a part of the showers wall from the vertical, and you can also displace the person playing in showers. So there has been a little bit of a talk of a counter now for that showers player. Whether or not they decide to do it is probably irrelevant because I think what they want to do, have someone sneaky pinch, which is going to be the sledge of illusionist, and then everyone else focuses on the dining room.
I think it's on the work to get it opened up, and you've got the sledge looking to play from an alternative angle, potentially looking to threaten inside a kitchen, so they're not going to sit there fine and pretty. And by the looks of it, they haven't actually bothered getting the wall fully opened up yet. I think now we're going to see Karibo look to finish that off. Down goes Sake. It's the Habana. It's not wall running. They've still got the Maverick, but that wall needs to get opened up, and that is actually a clap back up towards the north, where Illusionist is now going to step in, goes hyper-aggressive. Will he find anything for himself? Will find one, and he's got one more looking to come towards the north. 2 kills come out for Heretics. Plant is going down. Karibo gets sprayed as Flares pushes out aggressively. Barros pops off to try and find something, but does not find a head. It's a 2 versus 2. 22 seconds to go. It's all coming up number 2 for every single side, but will Heretics finish number 2 in this fixture? Can Winstrike secure the draw? It comes down to 15 seconds. The second attempt coming out. No cover from Barros as he's the one putting down the plant. C4 and Hanger try and throw it through, but it's fallen a bit short. Shoots it out. Huga gets pinched on. Now it's down to Barros entirely by himself. No smokes left. It's going to come down to seeing those yellow outlines. Goes for one, sees the other, but gets downed. Winstrike are going to take the fate away from the other side, and Heretics are going to have to rely on other results today going their way if they are going to make it into playoffs.
What an absolute shame. We knew from round 3 that this was a true possibility, that this back and forth would not end for all of these remaining rounds. 12 rounds in a row here for Winstrike to sort of turn around and go, yeah, you know what, we can smash any team that we go up against in a draw. Well, that doesn't give me a lot of confidence, but what it does tell me is that Heretics still have a long way to go here, and that all of their fate, like you said, rests on the counterparts of the rest of this particular group. And that is not a position you want to be in when you desperately need to make playoffs. You're the only Spanish team, you're the only representation. They possibly could do it if games go right, and as I predict, they probably would, but you never know anymore.
Well, if Fedora or Matchco lose, Heretics are safe because they still win the head-to-head against both of those teams. So it's not world ending yet, but if both of those teams go on to win, Heretics will be out. This is going to be a very nervous couple of hours for any Spanish fans out there, so let's see how it shapes up. But first and foremost, let's go over to our desk and get their thoughts on this match.
There it is. Thank you.